What's going on, everybody? Man, listen, there's so much going on in the world today. There's so much change. There's so much indecisiveness. There's so much politics, for lack of a better word. And as I was on the internet last night, perusing, looking around at some things, I came across something that I thought was really interesting, and I said, let me just jump online today and share with you real quick what I found. And listen, I would love to hear some of your comments. I would love to know what you guys think about this, because there's a story that I tell people. There's a man of God. His name was Miles Monroe. He passed away a couple years ago, and Miles was being interviewed, and in the interview they asked him what he thought about abortion. And he says, well, I don't have any opinion about abortion. And the person interviewing him said to him, well, you're a minister, you're a man of God. How can you not have an opinion about abortion? He says, simple. He says, I'm a servant in a kingdom, and I have a king. My opinion is whatever my king's opinion is. I don't have an opinion. I do what I'm commanded. And I think that a lot of times we forget that aspect of it. And so, listen, let me just share what I found. And like I said, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on this as well. Psalms 139 verse 13. For you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. So it's God that formed our inward parts. He covered us while we were in our mother's womb. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 4 through 5. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, before you were born, I knew you. I ordained you to be a prophet to the nations. So before he was born, God knew him. God already had a plan and a destiny for this man of God. David says this, you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. That's Psalms 139 verse 13. David was referring to himself as a person in the womb, that God formed him. That means that every baby in the womb, God intricately formed. God knitted that baby together. God took time with every individual baby. He said of Jeremiah, I knew you before you were even born. In the Gospel of Luke chapter 1 verse 39 through 44, it says this. This is after the angel Gabriel came to Mary to tell her that she would be the mother to the Messiah. So listen. Now Mary rose in those days and went into the hill country with haste to a city of Judah, and entered the house of Zacharias and greeted Elizabeth. And it happened that when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, that the babe leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. Then she spoke with a loud voice and said, blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. But why is it granted to me that the mother of my Lord should come to me? For indeed, as soon as the voice of your greeting sounded in my ears, the babe leaped for joy within me. Well, if the babe leaped for joy within her, he must have been alive. He must have had life. The Bible considers a fetus to be an unborn child. Point blank, period. A planned human being that God is forming from the moment of conception. From the moment of conception, God says, I knew that child. God says, I have a plan for that child. God says, I've ordained a path and a road for that child to go down. This being the case, it doesn't really matter what human jurisprudence says or how socially or politically acceptable abortion is. God's law takes precedence. Point blank, period. In America, if you go back and you study history, America was formed on the foundational principles of biblical standing. That means the forefathers of the United States said the Bible was what we were going to stand on and what as a nation we were going to grow from. What happened to that? Listen, a mother who decides to abort her child, listen, is unilaterally making a decision to end another person's life. And this is and has always been the definition of murder. What are your thoughts on this? Leave them in the comments.